How's it going? I'm Ryan, and today I'm going to go over the two trades I took on QQQ. Both were winners, ended up with a pretty solid day overall. Price action was a little choppy, a little bit harder to trade, still came out on top. We'll look into those trades in just a second. We're on the daily time frame here looking at QQQ. Last Friday, we put in a new all-time high at that 446.58. Today, a bit of an inside day, right? We didn't quite reach that high and didn't really move much to either side. We had about $1 range. So, like I said, a bit of a choppy day. An inside bar could set up for an interesting play tomorrow. If we get a break to the upside, we could see some serious continuation. If we continue to pull back, then we'll probably look to maybe this like 440 area for some support. We'll take a look at a few of the zones and things that I was watching today. So last Friday, we had a huge rip to the upside, setting all-time highs. With that, we had not a lot of zones because of this, but we did have a zone around the all-time high of 446.6. We had this little area in here around 442.3 to 442.6. We didn't reach this today. Others than that, we had the pre-market high at 446.77, pre-market low at 445.2. For the record, I was kind of watching this 445 whole number. So game plan for today was I wanted to see a break out of the range that we were in from Friday's after hours in today's pre-market. So kind of between that 445 and like 446.6 or so. That leads us to the first trade that I took today. So the very first trade that I took was puts, and I took them right here on the retest of this 445 area. In the morning, we looked weak, tried to push up, got rejected back down, really couldn't hold on to that pre-market low. We wicked back up and tested this area again, had another really weak close on the 5-minute, at which point I entered a single put on this candle here when we retested this 445 area, and entered another after we had rejected off the pre-market low here on this candle. So an additional thing that I was watching is we had the 9 EMA on the 5-minute. I'll throw that on there as it was rejecting off this level as well. So we can see that we were pretty much under this 9 EMA the whole way down, couldn't close above it, wicking up and touching it and rejecting. So being below that 9 EMA, showing weakness overall, was one of the factors that made me confident on this trade. I'll take that off and we'll switch over to the 1-minute chart here and take a look. So looks a little messy, but this is what I was watching. We had, it looks messy because it was. I drew this line here in the morning. We had come down, formed this low, tried to push higher, got rejected right around that opening price of 445.6, came down, found a little bit of support, and broke this. As we came up to retest this broken support and that 445 area that we were kind of holding, like this, just this zone in here that we were holding in the morning, I took my first contract in here. So that was my first entry. I took 444, so out of the money, $1 out of the money, same day expiration. My stop was a break above this pre-market low. We continued to kind of wick around in this area, not forming a lower low here, but when we came up and tested this pre-market high and then started to reject, I entered my second contract at this point. I did so because this was essentially my line of defense. This is where I was going to cut if we reclaim that pre-market low, and we're forming, higher lows on the day, then that would have invalidated this trade, saying that we were weak overall. But we were also forming, lower highs. You can see that we had this high a day, this swing low was lower, this swing low was lower, this swing low was lower, and we couldn't reclaim that pre-market low. So entered another call in here when we were rejecting off that pre-market low. I sold when we broke low a day. So I sold on this candle here. Like I said, this is a mess because it is. Today was pretty choppy price action. I'm honestly surprised that this trade worked out the way that it did. I got a little bit lucky in terms of, I could have gotten stopped out in this choppy price action for sure. But you can see how this pre-market low was acting as a pretty strong resistance, right? Wicked off it here, wicked off it here. Once we finally broke above, we held it as support in here. So that level was valid. That being said, I sold both contracts. My target was low of day. I wanted to see us break low of day and create a new low. So I sold one at the low of day, and once we broke below the low of day, we had this increase in price increase in volume as price went lower. Sold one contract at the low day. Once we broke, I sold the other for about 25% or so gain. Pretty decent. I could have had a better entry. I think waiting for this retest, the pre-market low, would have been a better entry, obviously, with my first entry being around in here and my second being after that reject. That would have been probably the best entry. Hindsight 2020, you can't always get the absolute perfect entry and exit every time. You just have to try to, minimize your risk and get as close to the best entry and exit that you can. That trade worked out pretty well. That was my first trade of the day. My second trade of the day, and this was just a really small scalp. I was already up on the day. We were chopping. Wasn't really a great day for trading. And the only reason I took this is because this level had been pretty prominent previously, but I took this bounce here. So we're looking at it in the 1 minute. I'll switch back over to the 5 minute after this, and we can examine it on the 5 minute as well, because I was also watching. I have been waiting for 5 minute closes. That was one thing that I wanted to change following last week, was to be a bit more patient with my trades, wait for some confirmation on the 5 minute time frame. So we had come down and held this pre-market low. I liked that we pushed below it and closed above it multiple times. So I entered here, which makes sense because it's at 8:55, which means that we would have just closed a 5 minute candle holding that. So we held it on the 5 minute, held it on the 1 minute. We tested that level that we had previously rejected off of. We also had this big push up. So a pretty big swing from this low a day, or not quite low a day, but this low area here. About over $1 swing to the upside, a little bit of consolidation, came back, held this level. And I entered a single call. I entered 446 calls. So one strike out of the money. Only one. And when we pushed up here, I trimmed kind of at this level that we were holding as support earlier, kind of this area that we were consolidating in. Could have squeezed out a little bit more. We did push up, a solid, 15, 20 cents higher probably from where I got in, where I got out. But it was about like a 15% win on this trade. So pretty small. I was risking a break below this low right here. So we didn't hit it. We came close, but a break below this little candle swing low here would have stopped me out. And yeah, I just took it just because it was a setup that on a normal day I would take. Hindsight, I will say that with today's price action and how choppy we were, probably not the best day to be, taking multiple trades or over trading. Not necessarily that I feel like I did, but I had a profitable trade. I risked like $5. I set my stop below this wick and just cut it once we pushed up here. So it was like maybe a 1.5 to 1 risk to reward. Usually I want something more to a 2 to 1 risk to reward. With that being said, it worked out. So we'll take a look at that on the 5 minute chart as well. That is the 15. I'm at the 5. So we can take a look at that. And this is what it looked like. So on the 5 minute, like I said, I waited for this candle to close. We pushed below, closed above. We had that confirmation on the 5 minute and the 1 minute. And so I felt confident and took my profit somewhere in here. That's all that I traded today. QQQ is a bit of a mess. We can take a look at SPY. It was a bit cleaner. SPY was quite a bit cleaner. It was pretty much an uptrend all day, except for the power hour. I guess it dumped. But nonetheless, SPY, I was watching this zone. We broke above it. I was considering calls in this area, but I didn't really like how we were wicking around in here. And at the same time, QQQ is pretty weak on the day. So I didn't really feel too comfortable here. But we did push up and create a new high on the day, test that pre-market high. Ultimately held this zone again before testing that next zone around the all-time high, pulling back again, holding support here before creating new high and new all-time high. So SPY had a bit cleaner price action. We were making higher highs and higher lows on the day. Looking back, SPY probably would have been a better stock to trade today. But nonetheless, we took 2 trades and we had 2 for 2. So can't complain about that. Decent win overall on the day. And we'll look to head into tomorrow. Hopefully we get some better price action. The past couple weeks we've had some of this, right? Some choppy stuff. So hasn't been easy to trade. Just got to stay disciplined, have a tight stop, have a plan, and execute. That's all I got for you. Thank you for watching. I do trade live Monday through Friday, so I'll be here all week trading live. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for watching. Peace out.